Hey, this is Michael McJunkin, and boy, do we have something. This is a little indicator to how this review is going to be. And if you don't like what I'm saying and saying about a certain film, then I suggest maybe go click on something else while there's still a chance. Now, what can I say about the first Rio? Well, I do agree that story is kind of a little predictable, and and of course the characters don't hers are kind of stereotypical. But for the rest of this movie, I enjoyed it. Not only is it one of my favorite films of in the modern age, but of all time as well. Hell, I enjoyed the characters, and of course the animation was beautiful and colorful from the bird feathers, and of course, besides its humor, I also like its songs and the musical score of John Powell. And of course, in my opinion, probably one of my favorite films from my favorite underrated studio, Blue Sky Studios. But enough about the first Rio. Now, let's talk about Rio 2. Now, to be fair, I'm not going to give away the ending, even if it is cliche. What can I say about the story? It revolves around Blue trying to fit in with the birds of no. So, when they find out from Linda and Julio on the news that Blu and Jewel and they're not the only Blue macaws left, that there are more Blue macaws out there in the Amazon forest. That's almost kind of like the ending of Ice Age: The Meltdown. Sorry if I spoiled that ending. Now, and then while Blue who tries to fit in with the Blue macaws, which is hard for him since he's been a pet and is sort of acting a bit like a human. And of course he only accepted to go with Jewel and his family just to make them proud and happy for him. And then while there are a couple subplots they decide to add in, like one being where some guys with bulldozers want to tear down the Amazon forest, and they have to put in an environmental message where they save the forest. And at least it's not hammered or as bad as Cloudy with Chance Meatballs 2, and other than that, just like the first Rio, it also gets predictable. There's a subplot where Nico, Pedro, Raphael, along with a new friend of theirs, who's one of Blue and Jewel's kids, is named Carla. She joins them, and they look for something for their talent show in the Amazon forest. And while this happens, there's a side plot where the Blue macaws are apparently against the Red macaws. I guarantee the list goes on. It feels like I'm watching like a bunch of episodes of a TV series. Now, and of course, so we could say it doesn't have much of a story. Now, for its humor, it's more hit and miss. There are times where I did chuckle, and I did snicker most of the time. But other than that, at least there wasn't a farting sound whenever there was a fart joke that happened in a bird bath. And now onto the animation. I think I've covered. Well, just like the first reel, they did manage to make it improving and beautiful. Such a lot of bright colors and textures they've done with the feathers. There's even the fur. And of course, with the character animation, they do the same thing Blue Sky usually does, where it's like acts cartoon-like, but more realistic, like the kind of expressions, comedic. And now, for the characters. Well, the characters are basically the same as the first Rio. However, for the rest, there's nothing really new. Like Blue's basically like the same, like a city bird who wants to live with the birds, others, and of course, now for Raphael, Nico, and Pedro, they were my favorite characters of the first film. And sad to say, they don't do much in it, other than, like, try to be judges of a talent show at the Amazon forest. And the rest of the characters, like Louise the Bulldog, and Linda and Tulio's adopted son, Fernando, yeah, he appears in this, just a cameo. The rest are just there because it's a real sequel. And, now for the new characters, I don't care much. Actually, the chemistry, I mean, this kind of love story between Nigel the Cockatoo and Gabby the Poison Dark Frog, it's okay. And for Blue and Jewel's kids, I don't remember the names except for Carla and Tiago. I know that, I believe Tiago's the troublemaker, and of course the Blue Bird, who's a female, she's the smart one, and the other female, named Carla, she's possibly my favorite out of the trio, because I see a bit of myself in her, wanting to be with Nico, Pedro, and Raphael. Oh, like being fun-loving. And, like I said, I don't care much about the rest, but I do like the performance of how Bruno Mars did when he voiced as Roberto, an old friend of Jules, who wasn't really mentioned until the sequel. Cool. Now, the songs. Well, the songs are very... nothing to say, but they're very enjoyable. Like, I was dancing in my seat, and of course singing along to the first, which I've been listening to before I saw the film, like, What is Love? And of course, Beautiful Creatures. And It's a Jungle Out There. Here, these are my favorites out of them. And of course, I am aware that one of them that Nigel sings in the show is one called, is sort of a ripoff of I Will Survive. But at least it's not as bad as, like, in Happy Feet 2. Now, what do I say about the whole film? To be honest, I enjoyed it. Sure, it's not a very good sequel, but much better than Happy Feet 2 or an Ice Age sequel, which I still enjoyed, and overall, not a great sequel, but still very enjoyable. I like its songs especially. So, I give this film about 3.5 stars out of 5. Well, that's all for now. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to be playing some of Angry Birds. All I can say is now Blue Sky Studios is that Peanuts, the movie, better be amazing. See you next time.